Alright YouTube, I'm back. Today's YouTube video is supposed to be back-to-back videos. But as you can see, my dad, he decided to buy some groceries and I had to help with the groceries. I had some time before I go buy some dinner and then hit the shower and then get ready for my last and final day of work. Finally, bloody hell, bloody damn it. Wish I had a Deadpool mask on with the Deadpool costume and the Avengers Infinity Gauntlet, so I can just erase certain shit out of existence and get on to a new job already. Alright, anyway, that's not what you want to hear in the bloody video, so let's get to it. This one's going to be a revised version video. Now, I've done this on my old YouTube channels, so I guess I'm going to do it for my new YouTube channels. Alright, it's going to be called Sex Game. Sex with white and Mexican BBW women with black men, part 2. The reason why I'm going to put fat white women and fat Latino women lumped together is because I've been seeing this huge trend as of lately. For the last 10 to 15 years, I've noticed it a lot more that it's been happening. Hell, it's happening to me. And I work at the Grove and it's happening to me. Now, fat white women and fat Latino women do find black men very physically, sexually attractive because we're bigger, we're stronger, we're faster, we're athletic. We can play basketball and football, and we know how to put it down in the bedroom. Now, this video is for guys who are curious on why black men who self-improve themselves after 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, or extreme cases 25 to 30 years, why some men, after doing all that self-improvement, instead of dating super hot attractive women that are 8s, 9s, and 10s, why they decide they want to ask out a fat white woman, or why they want to ask out a fat Latino woman. And the answers to that is quite simple. A lot of men are just sexually frustrated. You see, when you get rejected 4 years in high school, you get rejected all in college, 4 plus 4 is 8. That's 8 years you've been rejected. But then you add 2 more years on top of that, that's 10 years. So that's 10 years of rejection. And by the time you approach the ages of 30 to 35, you're sexually frustrated. And I think you should know it better than anybody. It is not normal, and I repeat, it is not normal to go 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, sexually frustrated. If you are sexually frustrated, it doesn't matter if you're a black man, a white man, a Latino man, or an Asian man, or an Indian man. It's not normal to be sexually frustrated for that period. And then what happens is it's 3 months, 5 months, 6 months, 9 months. Before you know it, it's 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years that you're sexually frustrated. And according to the math and the science, the older you get, the less patience you have. That means by the time you approach the ages of 30 to 35 and sometimes 40 years old, a lot of guys start approaching fat white women or fat Latino women because they're sexually frustrated, because they keep getting rejected by beautiful, attractive women. And you see, when you look at movies and television shows, most black men become the negative stereotype that he like the only time he can get a beautiful, attractive white woman is that she's fat. That's only part true. Now, I made another video on my old Alexander 2 show that I highly recommend you go watch before you watch this one. Because if you just watch this video right off the back, I'm telling you, as of right now, you're going to be 85 to 90% confused. That means everything I'm saying in the video will make no sense to you whatsoever because you did not watch the old videos on my old channel to understand the new videos of new material. And some might even argue, even if you go to my old Alexander Oden channel or Alexander 2 Show channel and look at the old videos, you still might be confused. It is what it is. But like I was saying, the reason why black men mess with fat Latino women and fat white women is because they got big breasts and a big butt. And to a certain degree, they do find fat white women physically, sexually attractive. To a certain degree, to a certain extent, they do find fat Latino women physically, sexually attractive. Those women are some freaks, okay? If you go to the nightclub on Wednesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturday nights, about 85 to 90% on average, those types of women are in the nightclubs. And every now and then you will catch a black man that's bigger, stronger, faster, that's athletic, that is physically, sexually attractive, that has self-improved himself in 7 to 8 categories, that has everything. He has money, looks, and status, but for reasons explained or not explained, he just automatically gravitates towards the fat white woman, the fat, we'll just say BBW instead of saying fat white woman because that's rude and disrespectful. So we're just going to go with white BBW. Or he sees the Latina and he starts asking her out to lunch and dinner. And then usually by 3 months or 5 months or even a little past a year or 2 years, he's smashed that ass not once but a total of 2 to 3 times. Now, the reason why most black men get stereotyped is because of movies and television shows. And one of the prime examples I like to use is a movie called Pain and Gain. Now, the reason why I use that is because the movie's about maybe 5.5, maybe 6, maybe close to 7 years old. And you should know what that movie's about. That's about bodybuilders who committed a crime. They committed murder and kidnapping and drug trafficking. And, the movie, the actor was Mark Wahlberg, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, and Anthony Mackie, who played Falcon in the Captain America movies. And basically, he was playing a stereotype in the movie that for 10 years, he'd been going to the gym to get into the best athletic shape that he possibly can get in. And nobody paid attention to him. In 10 years, he did cardio. He did weight training. He burned fat. He built muscle. He put in the hard work and the dedication. And in 5 to 10 years, nobody paid attention. And nobody really gave him no respect and no credit. And out of all the women that rejected him, regardless that he was physically, sexually attractive, the only one that paid attention to him was a fat BBW woman that was 260 pounds. That was the only woman that paid attention to him. So the movie basically tries to say that black men become stereotyped because the movie is suggesting that the only time a black man can and will get a white woman is if she's fat and out of shape. Another prime example of this would be, that's a movie. Now, what's another good example of this? Would probably be, I can't think of it. I don't want to say Trainwreck because, you could even use Trainwreck as an example. Now, you see how they had John Cena as a bodybuilder / professional wrestler, and Amy Schumacher's character was a fat girl, and John Cena was dating her. Those are 2 movies that are prime examples of making men into stereotypes. So when I say television and film, and then they market this, so then the women chase after professional basketball players, football players, baseball players, bodybuilders, and personal trainers at the gym. And there are even stories of those guys low-key hitting it 2 or 3 times. And when people ask those types of men why you do it, 99.9999%, you'll hear a white man say, or a Latino man say, or most in common a black man will say, we're sexually frustrated. See, it's easy for women to get sex anytime they want. don't matter if the woman's high class, middle class, or low class. It's easy for women to get sex 99.99%, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. As for men, unfortunately, a man either has to be rich and famous. I'm serious, a man has to be rich and famous. Either self-improve himself, get a passport and go to a foreign country, or become an alpha male. Most men were afraid to become an alpha male because of feminism and Me Too. Either you become rich and famous, either you self-improve yourself, get a passport, or you become a bad boy. And if you become a bad boy, then most men were afraid of being what? Stereotype. What's a stereotype? A stereotype is being a stud. What is a stud? A stereotype. So when you watch all these movies and television shows, they always got it to where a black man is being stereotyped, that the only time he can get a beautiful, attractive Latino woman is she's 200 pounds, she 300 pounds, she 400 pounds. The only time you can get a beautiful, attractive white woman is if she 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds. That is only part true. That's only 60% true. It's not 70 or 80 or 90 or 100% true. It's only on ice cream truck. Summertime, and when it's summertime, the ice cream truck will run about 6 to 12 times in one day. So sorry if you hear the ice cream truck in the background. It's the end of June, better known as Pride Month, and next month will be July, and you're going to hear the ice cream truck all summer long. Even the first week of September, you're going to hear the ice cream truck all day long. So sorry for the interruption, but like I was saying, that's only 60% true. It's not 70, it's not 80, it's not 90, it's not 100% true. It's only 60 to 65% true that in some cases, if you get a black man from a middle class or low class working environment, if he doesn't make enough money and he's not rich and famous and he's not a professional basketball player, football player, baseball player, soccer player, he's going to have to settle for a white BBW. He's going to have to settle for a Latina BBW. And that's who they end up taking out to lunch and dinner. That's who they end up getting into relationships with. And that's who they end up having sex with. And then they hit that ass 2 or 3 times. And the reason why I say there are some cases of guys that are bodybuilders, weightlifters, and personal trainers low-key smashing some fat white women or some fat Latino women, is because it goes back to what I said in the beginning of the video. 99.99% most men are sexually frustrated. Think about it. You work 8 hours, 9, 10, 20, 30 hours on a job, and you get tired of seeing other people ask women out to lunch and dinner, and as soon as you ask a beautiful, attractive woman out at work or at the gym out to lunch and dinner, about 90% of the time she gonna hit you with the classic, I don't know you very well, sorry, I have a boyfriend, sorry, I'm married, sorry, I got kids. She gonna hit you with every single excuse in the book known to man. And that's not just gonna be 1 year, that's gonna be 2 years, 3 years, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You're going to be hearing that for about 10 to 15 years on average. And at some point, you're just going to get sick and tired of the bullshit, because there's a lot of politics that's involved. Women keep trying to go after men that are rich and famous. And guys that are not rich and famous, guys that are middle class and low class, are always being forced to wait 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, extreme cases 25 to 30 years later. And then when you get a guy that is rich and famous, reasons explained or not explained, and somebody say you can get the supermodels, the fitness models, the booty models, the actresses, the news lady, the cheerleader, why do you settle for a fat white woman or a fat Mexican woman that's 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds? And most of the time, he going to give you 2 reasons for it. First one, he's sexually frustrated. The second reason is when he was broke and he didn't have no money and no job, the only woman who ever respected him and ever gave him any credit was a woman that was fat and out of shape. So a lot of times people get curious when they see something and they want someone to come on YouTube and explain, why would you do that if you're making all the money? Like if you got you a house, you got 2 jobs or 3 jobs and you're making a lot of money and you work in a high class or middle class area, why would you want to subject yourself to lowering your standards? See, when people say raise your standards, what they don't understand and don't realize is if you're a black man and you raise your standards as high as you can go, you're sometimes going to find out you're going to get attacked on both sides. And what I mean is, if you're a black man in the black community, most black women will attack you for dating white women, Latino women, Asian women, Indian women, Russian and German women. You're going to get attacked by women. And then the men get jealous because you're dating the best version. So then here comes the bias, here comes the racist, here comes the bullshit politics. And the reason why I say bullshit politics is because it exists. Or we can just call that hypergamous. Now, when I say, why did they ask, because you always hear the running joke that a lot of black men, 60 to 65% of the time, always date another man's trash. And I already just told you that's 60 to 65% true. And it goes to being sexually frustrated. Just sit back and just use your brain and think for a minute. You go all of high school rejected. You go all of college rejected. Now you're 20, 25 years old, again in your early 20s, rejected. Now when you get around 30, 35, sometimes 40 years old, you're tired of people asking you when you're going to get a girlfriend, when you're going to get married and have kids, when you're going to get into a relationship. And then when you finally get into one, it's either with a white BBW or a Latino BBW. And then people be like, why she got to be fat and out of shape? Why she got to be 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds? And sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes, why she got to be 500 pounds? Because the problem is, if you keep getting rejected, what's the reason of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and over again, either trying to get a new result or a different result. You're going to go insane. You're going to go crazy. And then they're going to have to lock you up with a straitjacket and throw away the key. Now, some people understand where I'm coming from, and some people may understand, but still say that's not an excuse and you should still have high standards. Well, here's some math and science. The older you are, the less standards you have. The younger you are, the more standards you have. And you see, that goes into the video that I made hours ago before I went on my job interview about taking testosterone replacement. As you get older, your T levels start to go below 50%, and then you don't find yourself physically, sexually attracted to women that have nice athletic shapes. You start lowering your standards and you start going after what I just said in the video. And you see people laugh at you, people make fun of you. I'm talking about if you're a black man. Now you're starting to see some white men date big women. Now usually it's always black men are the laughing stock, black men are the running joke for the past 10 to 15 years. Now all of a sudden 20 years later, what do you see? You see white men all of a sudden dating white BBW women, Latino BBW women, and you're scratching your head like, okay, I understand why the black man doing it. He broke, he ain't got no money, poor economics. When you see a white man doing it, now you got to ask yourself what's really going on behind the scenes. It ain't just affected black men. Now it's starting to affect a lot of men. Now you see Latino men get affected by it. And then you be like, okay, what's going on here? And you see, when I say this stuff in the video, a lot of people agree, a lot of people disagree. Now, what I'm trying to say is that that's why you see it. For the last past 10 to 15 years, or you can argue 20 years, you've been seeing it constantly. Now you got a case where you see a personal trainer that's buff, look like Arnold Schwarzenegger, look like Chris Hemsworth, aka the Mighty Thor. But he messing with a woman that's 230, 240, 250, 260, 270. And you scratching your head trying to figure out, okay, man, you're good looking. You can get a woman that's an 8, a 9, or a 10. Why drop down to a 4, a 5, or a 6? Why do that? Because the man is sexually frustrated. And if you look at the man's age, if he's 35 or 40 or even 45 or even 50, the older he gets, the more frustrated he gets. Now you're starting to see a case of big women go after basketball and football players, and a lot of the athletes all of a sudden start to, entertain the idea of it. Now, I'm not saying all men like big women. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is someone might come on here and ask a whole bunch of questions. They might ask 7 questions, and they might want 7 answers for those 7 questions. They might ask 10 questions and want 10 answers. So making this type of video is not as easy as it look or as it sound. In fact, I guarantee you less than 24 hours, maybe 5 months from now, maybe 2 years from now, someone will come on here and challenge my argument and my viewpoints and prove me wrong and tell me I got wrong, inaccurate statistics. And guess what? I'm perfectly just fine if someone challenges the video. I don't expect everyone to agree, and I don't expect everyone to disagree. I'm just making a case saying it's 60 to 65%. Because if you go to the statistics, it will say 65 to 70% of women are obese, right? That's black women. There's white women, and there's Latino women that's obese. Even if you go to the United Kingdom, there are some women that are obese. So here in the United States, when someone asks why is a black man that's middle class or low class doing it, the movies and the television shows are showing that most black men are sexually frustrated. Think about it. You're being discriminated against, and then when you do get a woman, it's got to be the fat white girl or the fat Latina chick. And the reason why I say that is because for the past 10 to 15 years or 20 years, that's what you've been seeing. Now it's not a joke anymore. It's not funny no more, because now you're starting to see it affect white men. It's starting to affect some Latino men. It's starting to affect some Indian men to a certain extent. And every now and then you might see an Asian guy have to kind of like say, you know what, I'm not getting anywhere, so I might have to. Now, when you get rich and famous, this always comes up. If a black man get rich and famous, he try to date the woman that's in athletic shape. Yeah, because he wants the best of the best. I'm just trying to say in this video, this is what happens a lot. When you get around 30, 35, 40, you start looking at big women, because you ain't getting any. And then people like to laugh and make fun of you because they find it funny that you're struggling. But what they don't realize is, and I'm talking about the women who laugh and make fun of you, the women that are in athletic shape, give it about 10 to 15 years, and then they'll pack on 20, 30, 40, 50, 60 pounds and be anywhere between 200 to 260 pounds, sometimes 300 plus, and then they run away and hide like a coward because it was funny to see you struggle in your 20s and early 30s. I'm talking about when women laugh at men. And then the woman that used to be fat and out of shape, once she go to the gym, she get into athletic shape. The type of woman you see men now start messing with at the gyms is curvy white women, curvy Latino women. So if he has to get a big chick, he usually tries to get her between 200 to 230 pounds. 240 pounds might be the cutoff limit. The only time you see a guy mess with a girl that's 250, 260, 270 is because she have a big butt and some big breasts, and she got a lot of junk in the trunk, and he might want to pound on her. They call it a pounding. And if you go to swinger clubs, or you go to a BBW nightclub or a golf club, on an occasion, you might see them, same thing with a golf girl. If you can't find a BBW club for big women, usually guys go to a golf club, and what do they find? BBW white women or BBW Latino chicks at a golf club that's 200 pounds, 300 pounds, 400 pounds, and what do? Ask them out to lunch and dinner. And then 5 months later, 10 months later, or 2 years later, he's in a relationship with her. And then he gets attacked for having low standards. But if he has high standards, again, he gets attacked. And I'm talking about the black man. So to me, it's hypocritical to attack black men, white men, or Latino men for having high standards. And then when we lower our standards, again, you attack us. So the only way to get away from that label is to become rich and famous, because once you get rich and famous, that's when all the people that used to make fun of you and talk bad about you be trying to become your best friend, which is another video for another subject for another video. This is starting to get a bit too long, but I just wanted to explain the circumstances why a man would do that. And even Sandman have even come on YouTube, and he's Midtown, and he straight out said that now for the past 15 to 20 years, now you got cases where it ain't black men no more. It's black men, it's white men, it's Latino men starting to mess with big women. So when a guy gets 30, 35, or 40, or 45 years old, and he starts to lower his expectations, it's because you got to think about it. His whole entire life, he keeps getting rejected. And by the time he get 40, people are going to say, how come you're not married and you don't have no kids? And he gets tired of people saying that, so he has to come up with some type of answer for the challenge that he's been thrown at. Now, if he could make a lot of money and date the type of women he see in the movies and television show, most of us would have done that a long time ago. And even when some of us do date those type of women, what do I say? You have a such thing of a guy that is successful, and reasons explained or not explained, he gets confused, so he goes to the only type of woman he feels comfortable going to. The only time he might date women of high status is if he's a high status guy. And if he can get something of better quality, he will do it. But then he gets attacked for it. And then he gets sabotaged. So I don't want to make this video too long, because I've already tried to make it explainable as possible. So I don't expect everyone to like this video, and I don't expect everybody to dumb this video. Some of y'all might dumb down the video more than dumbing it up, but this is for guys that are not just chubby chasers. This is for guys who are not chubby chasers but want to know why they being stereotyped as this. Movies and television shows is just two prime examples of it. I'm just trying to tell you. So until then, peace.